Right, we've had a question on the Facebook group here from Melanie, and I'm actually going to do this video to answer Melanie's question, but you'll hopefully see when I do the video that the way that I set things up and explain tags and customizations will enable you to hopefully understand them much better too. So although I'm answering Melanie's specific woodburner question, I think the learning is basically to any scenario. So her question in particular was that she's added in her content hub the topic about woodburner, but when she goes into one of the cottage guides, she doesn't see it there. So she's kind of scratching her head a bit and going, well, I've added woodburner to my content hub. Why isn't it appearing in my guide? So let's rock over to my account where I've got two properties, one called Country Retreat and one called Mulberry Escape. And I'm going to just mimic what Melanie's question was. So I'm going to go into Content Hub. I'm going to go to my About the Accommodation, to my Heating and Cooling section, and I'm going to add a topic called Woodburner. And I will say something about how the woodburner works. By the way, I might include a video of how it works, etc. And then I'm going to hit Submit. And what happens by default is that woodburner gets attached to something we call the All Guides tag. And in Melanie's scenario, and in some other customers who've got a slightly older account, it will be called tag 1. When I say older account, it will be exactly like it is here. It will be the same content hub, same functionality, etc. But we changed the wording here for the default tag. We used to call it tag 1, we now call it All Guides. So just because you're seeing All Guides and you may have tag 1, it's the same thing. What TouchStay has done is it's automatically assigned the tag called All Guides to woodburner. Now, what that means is that by default there, the woodburner will appear in all of the guides in my account. I've only got 2 guides, so if I was to open up either guide, I would see the woodburner. The problem is I might not want the woodburner to go to both of my properties. And I think, in fact, what Melanie had decided was she didn't want that either. She only wanted it to go to one of the properties. So what she probably did was, quite understandably, went to the tag here and clicked on it, which actually removes it. You can see it's in a grayed out state. A grayed out state removes it. A solid color means it's active. So if I remove it and hit save, you can see in the screen here there's no tag now associated with woodburner. The problem that does is it creates the reverse situation. So whereas before I had woodburner in both of my guides, I now won't see woodburner in any of my guides because the tag is empty. And this is the way TouchStay works. It needs to know where to send that information. And if you don't give it a tag, it has no idea. Should I put the woodburner in the first property or the second property or both of them? It doesn't know. So consequently, if there's no tag, it leaves it out. Now, if I scroll up to the top, what I'm going to do, and this is what I would encourage everybody who's gone from 1 property to 2 property, or maybe even 3 or 4, is to create a tag for each new home. By the way, if you're a single property account, you won't see this tag drop down. You'll see the word tags, but you won't have this ability to create a new tag. The reason is, when you've got 1 property, you don't need to tell TouchStay where to send the information because you've only got 1 property. It's a one-to-one relationship. There is no choice for TouchStay to make. It will send it to your only property. When you have more than 1 property, it allows you to create a new tag so that you can tell it, hey, with this bit of content, only send it to one of the properties as opposed to both of them. So I'm going to create a tag for both of my properties, 2 more tags, 1 for each. So I'm going to hit create new tag and I'm going to give it a name. And my first one, I'm going to call Mulberry. The color is completely optional, so I'm going to choose the purple. This is where you tell TouchStay which property belongs to the newly created tag called Mulberry. I'm going to make sure it corresponds to Mulberry Escape. That's why I called it Mulberry, no surprise. And I'm going to create another tag, and this one I'm going to attach to my Country Retreat. And so I'm going to call it Country. And this one will give an orange tag. And hit create. Now what I've done there is I've enabled myself, anytime I add a new topic to TouchStay, to tell TouchStay which guides to include it in. If I tag it with all guides, it will send it to both of my guides. If I tag it with Mulberry, it will only send it to Mulberry. If I tag it with Country, it will only send it to the Country. So now that that's in place, so that's what you'll need to do, Melanie, is to go ahead and create two more tags. I'm assuming you've just got 2 properties, and I'm assuming you only ever had tag 1 before. So you'll add 2 more tags, just like I did, 1 for each property. And then go down to your woodburner and now open up woodburner, go to the end, and you'll see TouchStay now gives you the choice of where you want to send the woodburner. Both of the guides, just Mulberry or just country. I know it's only in my country escape property, so I'm going to activate country escape and hit save. And you can see visually now on the page, TouchStay is telling you the woodburner is going to country, this heating and cooling is going to all guides. Now this is really, really handy when you maybe have properties in 2 completely different locations. So you might have a restaurant that you want to recommend that you don't want to send to both guides, you only want to send it to one of them. So if you were in your local area guide and you happen to add a restaurant using Google Place, let's just add in Pizza Express, and let's just use the one in Woking here, it's at the top. I might say, well, I don't want to send this this Pizza Express to all of my guides because Pizza Express is only relevant to people staying in my Mulberry home. It would be irrelevant to country because it's 20 miles away. So I activate Mulberry. I do have to tell TouchStay what kind of pin to put on the map, so it's a restaurant. And now if I hit save, I know that this Pizza Express is going to my Mulberry cottage. And then I could add another one and maybe only send it to my country one, etc. And then I might add a local park, for good hiking. And although it's 20 miles away from one of the properties, I still want it to display to both. So in my tag, I would label it with all guides because I want it to be seen by guests staying at either property. So this is the neat way that tags allows you to run down your content hub and just literally say, this one send there, this one send there. So hopefully, Melanie, that's resolved your problem. Now, I want to take it one step further to a sort of a more advanced level, which is to say, well, it's all well and good for heating and cooling to be going to both of my properties, but the heating and cooling system is different in each guide. So look, for example, if we go in here, this one says you'll find a panel on the living room wall. All right, well, maybe that's correct for one of the homes, but for the other one, there's no panel on the living room. You have to access it from, the entrance hallway, for example. So how do you approach that scenario where you've got heating and cooling, which is going to all of your guides, i.e. both of them, but the content should be different in each one? Well, you've got 2 choices. Your first is to do exactly what we did just now with the woodburner. So create a new topic and call it heating and cooling. And in this one, you're going to explain the instructions for the new home. So blah, 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 it's in the front entrance hallway. Video again, you might want to do a video or even a photo just to show where it is. And I'm going to put this one in my country property. And this one here, this existing one, I don't want it to go to both guides because if I put it in both guides, then country will have both this one and this one. So this one I knew is not relevant for country. This one is my Mulberry one. So I activate Mulberry and I deactivate all guides and I hit save. So now I've got this version of heating and cooling going to my Mulberry, this version of heating and cooling going to country. So that's, in my opinion, having been doing this a long time, if you've only got a handful of properties, 2, 3, 4, even 5 maybe, I would duplicate your content and tag it with the relevant property. Now, if you've got 10 properties, 20 properties, 30 properties, 40 properties, you don't really want 40 versions of heating and cooling running down the page here with each with their different tags. In that scenario, let's unwind what I'd done. So we'll delete that one and we'll put that one back to all guides. In that scenario, where I don't want to create 40 different versions of heating and cooling, what I can do is keep just one version. It will go to all guides, but I will use our customization feature to dip into each individual guide and make the changes at that individual guide level so that I only have one heading in Content Hub, but I have 40 variations of that, 40 customizations. So how do I do that? So click into heating and cooling. This is fine for my first property, but not for my second one. So I'm going to scroll down the page. Instead of using the tag solution, I'm going to keep it on all guides. So by default, all of my guides will have this wording here. but I'm going to do what's called adding custom text. And I'm going to go and add custom text to my country retreat, because this is the one where the heating is not controlled in the living room, it's controlled in the front entrance. So look what happened. It's now taken me to country retreats heating and cooling section. And in the background, can you see I'm no longer on Content Hub, I've gone into the specific guide, and in this case into the country retreat guide. So I know that in making changes here now, I'm only making those changes to country retreats heating and cooling. And there's also a big clue up here that says custom text. And also the teal color in the headline bar here is an indicator that you're doing something different, because this does not exist in your Content Hub topic. So I now know I'm in country retreat. So I'm going to say you'll find a panel on the entrance hallway wall. Okay. And there's probably more that I want to say, but I'm just going to stick with that. I hit save and go back. It says, are you sure? All this is doing is saying you're about to change this for country retreat. Yep, I'm fine with that. When you get bored of seeing this message, just check the box, say save. Now look, it takes you back to where you were before. Can you see in the background? We've now gone back to Content Hub. But if I scroll down the page, I can see here visually, it's told me that I've customized for country retreat, which means that this information here is different on country retreat. But at the moment, every other guidebook that I have in my account will follow this templated wording. So until I go and add a custom text to an individual property, it will take this custom wording. So that's what would happen if you had the need to create different heating and cooling instructions for, I would suggest sort of 10 upwards homes. I wouldn't create 10 different property tags and 10 different versions. I would create just the one version and then go and add custom text to each individual property. And the beauty of that is that I only have one heating and cooling topic here, which I've tagged to all guides, so it's gone to all guides, but you can see here it's told me that it's been customized in one of my homes. And as you add more customizations following the process that I just described, eventually you'll have, if you've got 40 homes with 40 different heating and coolings, this will change to 40 custom guides. And that's the way that you can, in a way, achieve the same outcome, but a different way of doing it, which is more efficient when you've got multiple guides. Hopefully that's helped. Hopefully that first part of the video answered your question, Melanie, and the second part of the video maybe has answered it for those of you who've got many, many more properties in your account. If there's something that wasn't clear in the video, or if you feel like you've got another question related to this, hit me with it, because we can either adapt the video or do another one that's specific to your particular context. Thanks all. See ya.